Hello fellow circuit explorers! In this Circuits of the Past video we explore the current state of the lost Nivelles circuit in Belgium. We start at the former start and finish straight, which is now part of a business park. The current road follows the old circuit, but don't worry, there's an abandoned section left in the woods. Here on our left hand side was an additional chicane. When Herman took this photo in June of 1998, it was used to store materials for the reconstruction. Of course these roundabouts don't belong on the circuit layout. Don't give Mr. Tilk any ideas. Here was the first corner, and that used to be the straight in front of it, where the parking is now. To make it suitable for traffic, they changed the corner. The Nivelles circuit opened in 1971 as a safer alternative to Spa-Francorchamps. It hosted the Belgian Grand Prix twice, in 1972 and 1974. Both races were won by Emerson Fittipaldi. After a lot of financial trouble, the Nivelles circuit closed its doors in 1981. Since then, it's been used for illegal racing, which I'll tell you a little bit more about later on when we're in the abandoned section of the video. But for now, we've arrived at the most challenging part of the track, the big loop. The public road here follows these great corners, two long and very fast right-handers. The old photos you see were taken by Herman in the spring of 1998, during his first and second visits to the abandoned Nivelles circuit. He was just in time before the demolition of the track began. The fate of the Nivelles circuit inspired him in 2003 to open a website about these tracks. The name? Circuits of the Past. Here is where turn 4 used to be. Because there's no road, we'll explore it by foot. The old photos show how it used to be. On the other side of the trees, Herman discovered some remains of the old surface. This was also where the circuit passed the kart track. In 1973 and 1980, it was a scene of World Championship Karting. In 1980, Aytron Senna finished second to Dutchman Peter de Bruin. One of the spectators in the crowd was a young boy from Germany named Michael Schumacher. Here was the chicane leading to the back straight. It was on this empty grass field. Now we enter the remaining part of the Nivelles circuit. This section is not open to the public. We're now on the old back straight. Today it's used as an entrance road for the car park of the company that's now located here. when Herman wanted to enter the most abandoned section of the circuit, this happened. Herman decided to park his car on the car park, but the police stopped and wanted to talk with him. Would they arrest Herman? Herman told the police he was making a video about the old racetrack. After a little chat, they allowed him to continue on his way on the condition that he would leave the abandoned section immediately after he'd finished filming. It's a thug's life. We're now at turns 7 and 8. This was a fast right-left chicane at the end of the back straight, leading towards the lowest point of the circuit. Today, it's hard to imagine that there was ever a Formula 1 track here at all. Because the track has been blocked here by a load of earth, we'll explore the rest of the abandoned circuit by foot. This was the lowest point of the Nivelles circuit. Here was the braking zone for the right-hand hairpin that led to the start-finish straight. But actually, there should be a left-hand turn here. The Nivelles circuit was never actually finished. The design foresaw a longer track, but the owners could not bring up enough money to buy the necessary land to begin with, so they decided to build a shorter circuit first and then expand it later on. This, however, was a huge miscalculation. Once the circuit was there, the landowners wanted more money, so the track was never completed, and partly because of that, it never became profitable. Because it was never completed, the track was only 2.3 miles long. It was also very safe, with huge runoff areas, which was quite unique in the 1970s. However, because it was short and safe, it wasn't very popular with the drivers from that time. Probably the Formula 1 drivers of today would have loved the track, certainly if the proposed final layout was completed. Although the Nivelles circuit had elevation changes and some very challenging corners, it went down in history as a flat and boring circuit. After the circuit closed at the end of 1981, it was used for illegal racing during the weekends. Some weekends there were hundreds of people around the track to see how others could test their driving skills in the abandoned circuit. Sometimes there was even an ice cream vendor that came along. A 99 flake for 99 laps perhaps? Who knows? But motorsport is dangerous, even more so when it's practiced illegally without safety measurements in place. And that became apparent when one of the participants of an illegal race died after he crashed and was flung out of his vehicle. As far as we know, this is the second fatality at the Nivelles circuit. The first one was after Belgian racer Jean-Pierre Lembourg crashed in September 21st, 1975 during a regular motorcycle race. Sometimes the police came to stop the illegal races. And they did this by driving their police cars against the driving direction, like they do when Herman's still here. Maybe Herman mode will end up as DLC in Wreckfest. The police may have chased everyone away for that day, but the next weekend everyone just came back again. Except for illegal amateur racing, loose business also took place at the abandoned racetrack. Sometimes stolen cars were found there burnt out at the circuit, and the circuit buildings themselves fell prey to vandalism. To prevent further illegal racing, bumps of sand were thrown onto the circuit. But in 1998 they started the works to convert the abandoned racetrack into a business park. By 1999 they demolished the control tower and the pit building, and later the main part of the circuit was gone too. While we enjoy Herman exploring the remains of the track, I want to read to you a passage from Herman's book, The Magic of Weathered Asphalt. In this passage, he describes his very first visit to the abandoned Nivelles circuit in the spring of 1998. I still remember the moment I arrived at the circuit, on a wide road where I was looking for an open fence. When I saw the open fence, I'd already passed it, so I had to make a U-turn before I could enter the circuit ground. There was a no trespassing sign in French, but I ignored it. My curiosity was stronger than the risk of prosecution. Immediately after the open fence, I drove through a tunnel underneath the track. My heart started to beat faster. A narrow road led to the paddock and the pit lane. In the pits, I parked my VW Scirocco and made some pictures. If the police would come now, I could just say, "I'm making some photos," I thought. After I made some pictures of the pits, it was time to enter the track. With a strange feeling in my stomach, I left the pit lane. It was a tension that was a combination of a thrill of entering a new circuit and the knowledge that I was doing something for which I could be arrested for. On the straight, I saw the track run uphill in front, but I couldn't see what was behind the hill. The tension disappeared and enthusiasm came. What a beautiful circuit, I thought. Behind the hill was a very slow bend to the right. It reminded me of the original Steckenwald in Assen. It came to mind that you had to brake before you saw this corner, when you entered it at full racing speed. If you want to know how this story continues, you'll have to read Herman's book, The Magic of Weathered Asphalt. It contains many more stories about these types of lost racing circuits. We'll explore the last part of the abandoned section by drone. Here we see where the rest of the start-finish straight used to be. Today it's a public road, and the huge building on the left is the police station. Maybe next time you'll see Herman in the window. Now we're leaving the abandoned section and continuing by car. On our right hand side was where the control tower and the pit lane used to be. That completes our lap on the lost Formula 1 circuit of Nivelles. If you want to know more about the circuit, visit the website www.circuitsofthepast.com. There's also a free ebook you can download about 7 abandoned racetracks that you can visit legally, so you don't get in trouble with the police. For now, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the next new video of Bygone Circuits of the Past.